everyone to the Pro Impact podcast series. Today we are having discussion on a wonderful topic that is behavioral changes. How we need to improve our behavior and what is this about? For that, we have with us Nancy Anthony. She is a wonderful trainer, soft skills trainer, NLP practitioner. She is a founder of Zenith Academy as well. From Nancy, let's understand this deep topic. Welcome, Nancy, on the podcast show.
Thank you. One of my favorite day today, and most importantly, it's one of my favorite topics and something which I vouch for and I totally believe in it. And I was very glad when you said that we are going to talk about this particular subject. So great. And thank you. Hi, everyone.
Let us know about your story. Tell us what is your story, from where you come, and what you are doing. What is your vision?
Absolutely, I would love to. I'm a born brought up Bangalore girl, and I've been in this industry of FMCG, direct selling, and sales and marketing for over 2 decades now. It's my 20th or 21st year in the career. So from past 1.5 year, I'm doing things on my own, which is my Zenith Academy, where I really want to help people build into the emotional, spiritual, and also the physical aspect of it, which is the image building. So this is an academy which I focus on corporate training. I focus on students awareness building, behavioral training, which is one of the other very important topic, and image consultants, which is your inside out, is what I totally believe in. And I also, put a lot of effort and energy of understanding the aura, energies, angels, magic. So I'm a very magical. I live in a fairy tale magic world. I love that world of it, and it came back to me at the right time. And I'm glad I found it. So I'm also an angel card reader, and through this over process of understanding people, emotions and behavior and intelligence, and I also thought NLP and TLT is something. I've done that course practitioner with multiple courses across global leaders and also our Indian leaders, and a corporate trainer, and yeah, so on and so forth, and much more, and many more hats to wear. And yeah, that's it at the moment.
Amazing. I mean, lots of hats on, lots of feathers on your hat. And it's amazing to know that, angel card reader, and along with that, you are into NLP and soft skills. Wonderful. So, Nancy, today's topic is behavioral interactions. So what do you mean by this? Behavioral interactions. I mean, it's a sounds a new topic.
Yeah, very interesting, and I think it's a need of an hour in the world of AI. AI versus EI is where everywhere is a buzzword, right? And I think the biggest buzzword should be behavior also, which is also an emotional intelligence, and I'm sure we will talk more about it in the coming, time now. Most importantly, I think just to sum up at the beginning and the end, the way we'll have to look at behavioral interaction is two important powerful words. One is your mindfulness and one is your intention. Yeah, how clear are you with your own self and how you treat others? And by end of that conversation among those two people or the group of people, the moment they all leave each other, how are you making the opposite person feel? That's your behavior. So it is how I carry myself, how I present myself, and how I make you feel. In short, that is totally the behavior of an individual. And a lot of other aspect comes into it. How I treat you, what is my tone and all of that stuff. However, in a very, very simple form, the moment you're out of the house, the moment you wake up, you open your eyes and look at people, it's how you treat your own family members, how you carry yourself. The moment you step out of the house, how you treat people around you. The hierarchy starts from there, and you get into the office, and it's a different ball game. So yeah, it's all about being mindfulness and having a right intention.
Amazing. I mean, being mindful and having right intention. It also helps to be a very good communicator and to improve our behavioral interaction. So, like, how this behavioral interaction help a person to become a better leader or to connect and communicate better? What do you think?
Absolutely, it's so important. Skill and certificates can take you to the room. It can take you to the boardroom, or it can take you to places, or it can even take you on a stage. The moment that certificate is brought you to a certain place, that's when your behavior and your empathetical behavior, your emotional values, make you stay in that place for a longer time. It's very important. You can have the golden certificates, you can have the most prestigious awards and rewards and recognition. You can have all of it, and you can reach the top, which you've been, which we feel that that's a place to be. But the moment you start opening your mouth, the moment you start saying a word, the moment you start looking at a person, that shows your value of behavior. That shows your integrity. That shows your ability to make a person feel and understand. So it's very important for a leader. Be an empathetical leader is very important. And that's why I think in my today's post, while I was going through all of this and working on it, I just came up with this word which says leadership plus empathy, which is equal to leader empathy. So leader plus an empathy. You need to have a lead empathy so that you lead with the right empathy.
How do unspoken behaviors, like you also mentioned, tonality plays an important role. Tonality, body language, micro expressions shape other people, like their responses.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. There are, we always believe and say also, right, that a same thing can be told in 100 different ways. A same word can be expressed in 100 different ways. And there's no right or wrong to anything. However, there's always a better way to say a right thing. There's always a better way. And whatever we have said it to each other, there are 100 different ways of saying the same thing, which falls into your basic analytics of facts, which we all follow in communication, which is your tone, your voice, your communication, the words which your choice of words which you make, and also the way you put it across. And your body language really matters. I can speak to you the sweetest possible. If I have a very sharp eye contact with you, and if I don't have a nice tone, and if I have a very straight look, a close posture, I'm sure we would not be able to have the conversation for more than 2 minutes after that. You may be the sweetest, all our English teachers in the school also we'll see, no, they will have the brilliant vocabulary, basic, the amazing grammar and all of it. But the moment we see our English teacher, we all are like scared and want to run away because we know there's a body language which we need to maintain. We can't be ourselves. So the same thing applies in the organization also. When you see a CEO or an MD or a board member or a boss, for the matter of fact, it's about they might think that they're treating the employees right, but it's the body language, the tone, the way they treat you in individual, the way they treat you in the boardroom really matters. How they talk to you over a call, how did they talk to you over a virtual meet, how did they talk to you. So body language, your tone, your voice is very, very important.
Amazing point you picked out here, that team member body language. So what cause behavioral conflicts between teams? Bonding, they understand each other problems, situations, they thrive. So how
Absolutely.
can awareness resolve these kinds of behavioral conflicts, early, in early stage?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think it's one of the very, very important and a sensitive topic. Not everybody even touch base on this also. It's something which we rub it over the carpet, under the carpet, and think that let's not talk about it. It's a safe zone conversation. However, I'm
Hmm.
so glad you brought this up. See, I always see leadership as parenting. Okay. And the way
Mhm.
you take care of your kids in the house is exactly the way you would take care of your teammate if you're a leader position. You have more than 5 people under you, then boss, you'll have to be very mindful when you treat them, when you speak to them. It's not necessary you need to have 100 people to know you to call yourself as a boss or a leader. The moment you even have 2 or 3 people reporting it to you, the game is on. How you treat them and how you make the things feel. So these conflicts start The initial stage itself, you'll have to start understanding it. The right choice of words, rather than pushing it away and making them feel that, oh, you're just emotional. I think you're overthinking. That's not the way I made you feel. I don't think so. I meant it that way. You have taken it in a different way. These are the wrong words to be used. Instead, if we say, what is that I did which you made it, which made it feel for you the certain way, what made you feel that particular way, which moment was it for you that you felt it that way. If you go back to your subordinate, to your colleague, to your person who's reporting it to you, below you, if a manager even comes down to that one step down to be more empathetical and ask them which was the moment you felt that, whatever you're feeling, is more than enough. That will just give them so much of space and happiness to just say, no, boss, you know what I wanted to actually say, and you cut me and you were talking to another colleague. That moment I felt was like, oh, all right, I understand. Next time, let's see what we can do. Over. It's
Yeah.
so simple as that. Rather than saying, no, no, I was in a pressure. I was thinking about my numbers. I think that's more important. We don't have time for emotional conversations here. You don't have to be so sensitive. I was not even thinking. I think you're overthinking. And they put the medical situation, they'll put the personal situation, they will put the daily activities because you came late to the meeting, that's why you felt it, you were nervous, that's why it is. So rather than saying you, if they can see what happened at the situation, a lot of initial conflicts can be taken care. It's the beginning of all these small sparks to be settled.
Wow, I mean, you have shared the framework, how to talk to your subordinate or your team colleague in such a way that you can resolve conflict in early stages. The way, like, instead of making the situation like you made me feel like that, you have to shift the perspective, you have to shift the conversation. Amazing, reply you have shared here. And in this, I understand you have picked amazing point here: compassion, empathy in the consideration.
Yes.
In regard to that is emotional intelligence. So how does emotional intelligence improve behavioral, this kind of interactions, between colleagues, or whether it's family or in company?
Absolutely. And I think it's one of the basic quality of being human is emotionally intelligent. I think it's an outdated word in 90s and even in the early 2000s, if you see, when I started my career, most of the male bosses or the female bosses or my colleagues, they used to use these words very easily. You're such an emotional fool. Have you heard this term called an emotional
Yeah,
fool?
sometimes. Yeah.
I wonder who found out this word, who invented this emotional as a foolish thing. Now if I have to think back and I wish I knew this awareness, that moment to give back to that particular person who made me feel that I was emotional fool. Rather than calling it you're too expressive, which is a good thing. You are too opinionated, is the right thing. You have a
Mhm.
choice of looking at things in a different way. It's a nice thing. These are the better words to be used. Like I said, there
Yeah.
is always a better way to say everything. Whatever even I am saying now, there are 10 more other people who would feel that no, this can be said in that way. Great. But if it's always a better way to say, then every word is a good word. But if you're trying to make everything crunch down to a very stereotype behavior of saying that you're an emotional fool, you're overthinking, you are too depressed, maybe there's something happening in your family. Because as a boss, as a colleague, you also tend to share few of your personal things. That grudges which gets carried away, or those soft points you pull that against me, is where your empathy behavior comes into picture.
Mm.
We believe and we trust and we say it probably to take a leave. Just to take a leave, I'll have to be more honest. I just can't say I have a headache, I need a leave. I'll have to say my mother is not well. I have to say my pet is not well. I have to say my husband is not well. Correct. So that's being empathically, integrity is what we always call it, right? I'll have to tell my HR that I am taking a leave for so and so reason. Personal, also, they're like, what personal? Why are you mixing up your personal and professional reasons? So you will have to give them a little one liner of what exactly happens. That if your colleague, your boss takes it on the day of your appraisal, he takes it on the day of your your target, your monthly, your month end. Salespeople understand all of this really well. Your fortnight conversations, your weekly update, your daily update, on all these conversations in an open forum, that one leave conversation you pull out, that shows your value and your empathical attitude and a behavior. How empathetical are you towards people? Are you then shows, are you egoistic? Are you overheaded? Are you someone who thinks that you have a superior quality? You have insecurities which you're trying to impose it on people. All these things show how empathetical you are towards you, your family, your relationship, and your peers and your colleagues around you. And it's also a reflection of your value system, your cultural behavior, what you start from your home. If you're not treating your home people properly, it'll reflect outside. If you're not treating your outsider properly, which means there's something seriously happening inside your house. So,
I totally
ethical
agree.
is very, very important.
Very important point you have picked here, that if someone picked that conversation at the time of appraisal or the target meeting, it's like their empathy, their leadership shown there on the go,
Yeah,
very
it's happened to
important
me
aspect.
personally many a times, the multiple
Mhm.
organizations I've worked with without naming anybody to make them famous. Just that, there's so many times my bosses have overpowered me with this conversation of pulling back the last conversation which has happened. And when you start doing that, then they target you saying that you're very emotional or you're overthinking. You're not professionals. For women, this is a very easy word. A very loose talk for a woman is you'll have to be professional. Please leave the house behind. It's an office. Don't carry your home to your office. And your house people think that you carry the office to your home. So it's always a thing between these thin lines is where your empathy really reflects.
Patience, empathy, acceptance, amazing qualities and values. So
Absolutely.
why do people repeat these negative behavioral patterns even they know the outcome? As you mentioned, there are these are patterns, which you have shared. So how why they repeat it?
A big awareness even for me, and I don't know, even I was into this spiral or a loophole. It's a rat hole, which you can't come out of it so easily. It's like a giant ant, the tribe or a community. You just keep going into it. So what happens is, and this awareness came to me through NLP and TLT. Okay, and I'm still learning. There's a lot of practice happening, and I thrive to learn more deeper about it. There are three important emotions which we need to clear among us, which is your fear, guilt, and anger. The moment you touch your fear, the moment you touch your guilt, the moment you touch your anger, and anger trigger, this short temper term is also very loosely used. You're such a short temper person. Let be. I mean, why not? I am the short temper person, so deal with it. Everybody have a different emotion, right? So if I'm not able to deal with your overpowering emotion because I am a short temper, that's where the conflict comes, right? So if you feel that I'm a short temper person, I feel that you're not an empathetical person, that's where the conflict comes. So let it be. I think your beautiful status today, your status on WhatsApp also all talks about let it be. Let the other person be who they are. Do not judge them for who they are. So why is the repeat of the pattern is mainly and only because there is the baggage we all carry for many reasons, multiple reasons. It can be a childhood trauma, it can be a family environment, it can be a bullying in the school, it can be your insecurities, your inferiority complex. Probably you had a breakup, probably you have some other individual situation. Maybe there's a health issue which you're not able to express it to anybody. Maybe there's something emotionally bothering you which you're not able to express. Those things react, trigger. These are the trigger points. So you never know who says what to you when. In my through one of my chat, I recently got connected to a very experienced and a senior corporate trainer.
Mhm.
I had a very small fall just a couple of days back, and I'm kind of recovering. So I'm not able to walk and move and all that. And there's a huge pressure in me in general. My family, my pet, and my health, and my traveling, and all of this is happening. And the pressure is the word, which is actually I was also internally feeling. Okay, so that pressure word, I'm feeling it. So over the conversation, while typing, it was an autocorrect type, and that typing went with a wrong word. Opening has a wrong word. Instead of saying usual, it said unusual, as usual. So
Okay.
that person came back to me and I said, oh, seems like you're in a great pressure. That's why your opening sentence itself is wrong. I was completely taken back. Yeah, it was not needed. They didn't mean it in a wrong way. I didn't have to take so personally. But that pressure word was actually adding on to me. And that's where the empathetical word also comes into picture. They can just ignore it and they feel it's a joke. It was a very light-headed conversation. But you never know who's going through what when. So just to make a moment really feel nicer, you just can't say something to just make a laugh out of it. So it's a trigger point for me, and it's a very unemotional or unethical, empathetical point for them. Both of it come together, and there's a trigger and a clash. So why do we have these kind of conflicts? Is because we have a lot of baggages which we need to clear. And in TLT, that's the biggest thing which we work on is to let go of that guilt, fear, anger, and sadness so that anything comes to you, your way of handling will be completely different.
Yeah, I mean, it's very important that you have shared. It's like a kindness nature of yours, kind behavior. It's very important to share your vulnerability, to share your personal moments, and it's like it takes grit, it takes insight, that to share something that is meaningful. And you have shared why these kinds of negative behavioral patterns are there, these kinds of baggages, how we need to overcome these baggages. Wow, I mean, it's a spectacular answer. Now,
Thank you.
what do you think, like what role does environment and company culture play in shaping behavioral responses? Like you mentioned, it's like a team, it's like you have faced and everyone faced in certain life these kinds of behavioral responses of people. Does this environment and company culture impact in certain way in form certain behavioral patterns?
High level. I think that's where everything comes into place. I think this one question would sum up the whole conversation all over again. So we always say it, right? Whatever you want to change, start from within. से शुरू करो. Start.
Yes, absolutely. It's like you have picked a great topic, a stereotype topic, like men also face struggle. Majorly women and feminism and lots of these topics are very normal. Still, these topics and low for this, it's a very, very important topic you have touched here. And
Yeah.
these environment, these company culture, first, like inside we need to be aware uh, how we can improve our behavioral responses. So any three tips or any three frameworks or models you want to share with the audience, like okay, these three models you can apply to understand your behavioral patterns or modify or reframe your behavioral patterns. Yeah.
If you want your area to be clean, it's your house which needs to be clean. If you want your house to be clean, it's your room which needs to be clean. Correct. So it just starts, everything is from within first. And it took a lot of time for me also to understand this. I was in this, whoever I am now. And that's a great way to evolve and revolve also. That also shows your culture. It shows an environment and the very common statement and a very known statement. We say you're among the five people whom you're made of, correct? The right people at the right time and a right place will also take you to a right place in the future.
Right.
Yeah, building up a right environment around so important. But is it only my job to build the right environment? It's all of us together to build the right environment. You know, how nicely you build it. And it's a complete package of your personal and your professional life. How you get treated inside your house. घर में शेर and बाहर छुआ या बाहर छुआ या घर में शेर, those kind of statements are all these is such a cliche or stereotype statement for men and women. We keep using it, especially for men. They have to hear a lot of all this, by the colleagues and by the bosses, and they have a
Yeah.
lot of humiliation happening, especially if they're from sales background. Their bosses literally humiliate them in front of everybody. They will have to keep quiet because they have a family to run. We only think that women go through a lot of pressure. Of course, we do, and I stand 10 times more force than the way I stand for the men independency in the work culture. But the way even the men face the issue, humanity, the humiliation, what they go through, is also because they have this huge baggage of cultural behavior which happens around them. What happens to them at home? They are someone who's looking up to them every day. The moment they walk into the house, there is a kid and the family, elders. They have the whole house to run, and they have one position in the office to run. And if they have someone reporting under them and you have a boss, then imagine the sandwich which goes on their head. Can you imagine the whole thing? What happens to
Yeah.
them? So, yeah, it's the personal culture, how you treat people within you, among you, also is your external, internal environment, which plays a very, very important role. Again, all of this sums up to just one thing: being mindfulness and being aware. And what is your intention of saying what you're saying? Are you trying to show that you're superior? Are you trying to show that you're more knowledgeable? You want to show that you've read well, you have many certificates, you have more money, you have your own house, and the other person doesn't have. What are you trying to portray with that one line, which is your intention? If you have that in place, wherever you come from, all walks of life, cultural difference doesn't really matter. Your awareness and your empathy is the key for it.
Yeah.
Um, Three, or probably at the moment, what I'm doing with Zenith Academy also is something which I very, very, very focused, laser focused towards how you make the other person feel and treat. So there's a
Mhm.
complete framework on what are your being regular statement all these years, and there are combination of two or three alternate statements to it. So there is a mock call script which is there. So,
Okay.
if you have a certain situation, you say you've been saying this. How about saying this to get a right answer? So, through NLP and TLT, also, that's a language, it's a pattern, it's the process of how you're using a right language in a right sentence. So, there's an
Mm.
entire module script which we use in terms of how you can say the same word better, how you can say the same word, how can you rephrase the entire sentence. Even if someone is saying something, allow them to say that's when you know whether it's the right way or wrong way. So let them be first the way they want to be. And then you want to correct them, also correct them in a very rightful way, in a mindful way. You don't have to tell them that whatever you said is wrong. Rather than saying, how about saying the same sentence this way to get this particular answer, or ask them back saying, why are you even questioning this? The why factor is very important. So there's an entire framework on why factor. There's a framework on how to say it right and how to rephrase it. So if you put these things in place, automatically there is a lot of changes. You will start seeing the magic just then and there. The moment you rephrase a sentence and have a right tone and have a right behavior with the right, we can't have a script for everything, but you can definitely have a better way to say the same thing. So
Yeah. So, like, is there any feedback, like feedback loop can be a tool in this? Like, if someone wants to improve their behavior patterns, improve their communication skills, act as a tool.
of course, definitely, definitely a right feedback. And I'm a strong believer of free feedback. You ask or you don't ask, you will get one. That's the way I see it, because I think the trainer in me is built that for a longer time. And the moment I see something right or wrong, any restaurant or anything I purchase and go, and all
Mhm.
my people who know me, like for that matter, like ये तो तेरा department है, your feedback is your thing. They'll give the whole book or the entire tab to me, and I go on the feedback form. So very, very important to give a feedback, especially my team whom I've been working with. I strongly believe in feedback. One of my mentor, my boss, Romy, had taught me that there is no right feedback or a wrong feedback. It's a good feedback and to be improved feedback. Yeah, and you never start a conversation with anything negative, and most of the leaders already know it, and it'll be great if they can apply it every single time. And the right feedback never starts from a negative conversation, and you never start with, okay, all this is great, but so that's also a big thing on the NLP and TLT, which we use. Put the butt behind the burner. Yeah, and that's one of my module also, which I very strongly work on. Is the module itself says put the butt behind the burner. The moment you say but, everything beautifully said before that is all flushed out. Yeah, so the feedback plays a very, very important role. You cannot use the feedback as the bouncing pad during appraisal in the offices. You can't use the feedback to tell how bad you are. Feedback is to say how many good things you can improve upon. There are the loopholes which, has a manager, they can add value to, has an organization they can add value to. You can't call an employee, have a one-on-one in a conference room and then say you start removing out the old emails, you start removing the old chat from the group, you start removing the old Excel sheet and then bombard them with feedback and then assume that you as a boss have done a great job.
Hmm.
Hello, there's a problem. Okay, there's a big problem. So, and then you say a lot of things saying, you know what, Nancy, you're very good. You know, you have this way of saying things. You're passionate with your work. Okay, we also see that you're amazing in the way you're conducting training. But the moment but I feel that you're whatever, whatever, whatever. Then whatever you told me before that is vanished.
Yeah,
That's a
neglected. Yeah.
very wrong way of giving feedback. So the module which I follow which is called Put the Butt Behind the Burner feedback module.
Yeah. And like feedback, like this model you have shared, along with that, some people use sandwich method.
Of course.
Yeah, for feedback giving, like they
Yes.
uh, put it like that way. It's very
That's also
important to know, right?
therapy. Yeah,
Yeah.
the correct.
Yes. Small behavioral shifts can make communication more positive and impactful. Any five small shifts you can share?
Go randomly with numbers. It can even go to three or six. You never know. I'll try
Sure.
to give maximum possible.
Yeah.
See, every communication is starts with your intention. Why I want to give this particular word to you. If I have to say, hi, Shweta, you're looking great. Okay, good, which is a good start. Rather than
Mhm.
saying, oh, what's so special today? You're looking like this.
Like I believe people, like if team has a very good.
Is my intention? What tone am I using it? What am I expecting you to say? Am I jealous? Am I upset that you're looking better than me today? Am I comparing you to me in a way? So, what is an intention of asking that right question? That particular question where your tone is also changing. That's one way. Why are you asking that particular way? So, the first thing is your intention of even reacting or asking a question. If you're asked something, why are you asking? Yeah. And when are you asking? It's the simple formula of five W's and one H. What, where, when, and how is what you need to follow when you're asking. If you just follow these five steps, all your conversations will fall in place. So why are you asking? What are you asking? Where are you asking? Among how many people are you asking what you're asking? How are you communicating among the people? In front of whom are you asking? When are you asking it? Where are you asking? And then how are you asking? So if you just put these things in place, and this is what we learned even in our school grammars, right? We don't implement any of it. And even in our training
Mm.
modules, we have this, five W's and one H, which we follow very strongly. And the sandwich method, which you said on the feedback module. These are the modules which we actually teach people in our training modules also. In a basic communication, the 5 points will just be follow the 4 W and 1 H. or you put another W there and you make a 5W and one H, you will have a very simplified way of having a good communication.
I mean, it's a small plus, power packed, I can say this method, which anyone can use to improve their communication and make it more impactful and positive.
Yes.
Amazing. Nancy, like I have one question for you. Like whenever you have these behavioral interaction sessions with your in your trainings, any change, or any example you have found or case study you have found, okay, like by using this method, someone life has transformed. You want to share any case study?
100%. And I would love to, just recently, which happened just last week. And in fact, I posted that in my LinkedIn also a couple of weeks back. So there's this college thing which came up to me, and I was doing this 10 days communication, interaction, basic soft skill,
Mhm.
behavioral, all that which we are discussing today. Yeah,
Yeah.
so that in that what they said is they were more particular about stage fear. The students are not coming out. My employees are not able to speak. They wanted to do the same thing for the teachers and even for the students. Okay, great. I was all happy and pumped up, pepped up for it. I'm sorry, and I was like, okay, let's do it. And the first conversation I started having with them is I started addressing all the fears before they could tell me that this is the problem. So my top three, four questions were like, put your hands up, how many of you feel a severe heart raising? Your heartbeat goes really high the moment I call your name. Yeah, half the classes, of course, up. And the moment I say, okay, how many of you are already start sweating? Your feet or your hands start sweating the moment you say this is your topic and tomorrow is a presentation. How many of you have a sleepless night? How many of you feel that you're too nervous to even get up? Or how many of you feel that the moment you have everything in your head and the moment your name is called, you forget everything? You go completely frozen or blank. 90%, 100% of the class agrees with you already. So the half my complete job is actually done because they're agreeing with everything I'm saying already. Rather than saying how many of you feel very confident, how many of you like public speaking, how many of you want to come on stage and speak, how many want to tell a storytelling, I'm sure the class would not respond to it. But if I
Hmm.
do the same thing, which is the reverse psychology of pain point, I go back to them and I pin that same problem, I pin that same thing, I go scratch the same place. That's when the magic happens. So I did that, and the whole class, there were around 50 students, and I'm meeting them for the first time. That's my first day of the 10-day class, the first day. And I was supposed to do the icebreaker. I was supposed to go and just go build that relationship with them. And what I chose is an anchoring. I've used this anchoring of NLP and also my the angel card reading. There's one more which we do, which is a meditation form of doing it, taking you through the journey of where you've done right and TLT process. So anchoring is one great method, a magic method. I'm sure you're seeing me using a word magic very often, and I will still keep using it all the while, because the moment we say anchoring, I this is my anchor point.
Hmm.
So the moment I go down, I just touch this and I'm like all sorted. So that journey of taking them through what they have done it before and pulling that, making them put it in their self, wherever is their favorite point, and they head to wherever they choose to. The moment I touch my hair, I feel that my confidence is building. I'm not going to feel anything hereafter. All that patterns, that guilt, fear, anger pattern will also change the moment I put my anchor in place. So I did this with the teacher, I did it with the students, and there was a magical result. And this I would definitely continue doing. I do the same thing with my one-on-one therapy. I do the same thing with the group conversations. I do it in the seminars. I've already started implementing it. I do it for my own self. The moment I feel down, I do this thing. And my one of my angel card reader coach, she taught me another beautiful technique, which is called Jab We Met technique. So I do the Jab We Met technique, which is the movie Jab We Met, where you see the Karina. wala the main scene, right, where they discuss about it. So that's another great technique. So these two things I make them do, and it definitely works like magic.
Because I have done NLP, I understand the anchoring technique, and sometimes people have subconsciously, unconsciously, they have created some anchors, like touching hair or touching the ring,
Yep,
collar, or maybe face. Yeah, and in therapies and like making mudras, it generally helps them to build their
correct.
confidence. Yeah, it's a
And
wonderful
in this
technique you
world
have
of
shared.
AI and students, Gen Zs, this term Gen Z also something which I think is overrated now. So the way we have pressurized and boxed them saying that you're a Gen Z and you don't understand, I think we are so wrong. As millennial, we are so wrong to just think that they don't understand. They understand all of it, everything beyond us, much more better than us. They know it all. They just want to use the energy at the right place. In fact, they are more sensible than us. They don't want to say this to everybody all the time and then keep showing it off. They choose whom they want to show to and speak to, and then I think it works great among that.
So true. It's very true. And it's like, yes, sometimes we, assume that these people not understand and this person not understand. Still, nowadays, youngsters are so tech savvy, so intellectual, very nice. So thank you so much, Nancy, for sharing wonderful aspects on this behavioral interaction, how we can build some techniques and how we can understand, be aware, be kind and empathetic, that our behavioral patterns we can improve that. Nancy, like if someone want to connect with you, you can share your social media handles so where anyone can connect with you.
Absolutely. I'll share my LinkedIn, my Insta, and also my YouTube link to you. And probably if you can help me post it in the page, it'll be a great support also. And they can feel they can come onto my DM, and I will take them from there. And anybody, since now we are talking, and this is an awareness I just got at this moment because we're talking. If they want to have an angel card reading, if they want to have a one-on-one, first five people, I've just announced it yesterday also, the first five people who come, I will be more than happy to do that first 20 minutes counseling for them also, free for them or a compliment for them or a gift for them and an energy exchange for them, whatever we want to call it. And just before I could leave, it's a very close subject to my heart. I cannot miss out saying this important thing which talks about awareness, intention, or also empathy, culture, values. All this as a human is the other way to look at a person if they are really nice is the way you treat animals and plants around you. Yeah, so the way, if you really want to be a nice human, the way you treat your animals around you, that entire lane will have a dog or a cat or a cow or anything walking around. If that particular animal is suffering without the food and you see the malfunction happening there or some hurt on the body and not taken care, you know that the whole lane is not right. Yeah, and I am a huge animal lover, and dogs are my supernatural energy guardian angels. And I'm so glad that I've gotten awareness of them. Like the moment you know something, it's so difficult to undo the same thing of a knowledge. So I'm so happy that I've gotten awareness knowing that dogs are existing in the same world which I'm existing. They need to be taken care. So that also shows what kind of a human you are. So yeah, because it's a behavioral topic, I think this is also good behavior to add on. If you're not able to add value to them, it's totally okay, but don't harm them.
It's like it's a power packed session with a lot of insight and a wonderful message from your side. Like a human is a true human when he or she is a kind enough, with anyone whom we are sharing planet with, whether it's animals, plants, or anyone. Much, Nancy. And yeah, everyone, thank you so much for being here, for listening. And yes, if you have any questions, you can drop in the comments. If you want to connect, you can connect to Nancy or us. The details are in description. Looking forward, we are going to have more such sessions with Nancy and other speakers. Have a great day. Enjoy your day.